Hey everybody, welcome back around to the Blog and Grill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for July 28, 2014. A great blog once again planned for you as we're wrapping up the weekend. Sorry we missed out on you on Friday, but we are back and better than ever today. I got your New York sports update as the Yankees head out on the road after a long homestand, and the Mets will be home after a long road trip. We'll do NFL two-a-days with the Jets and the Patriots. I'll give you my AFC East standings for the NFL. We'll talk trade deadline, but the first thing I want to talk about today is the Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon, my man Jeff Gordon yesterday, winning his 5th Brickyard 400, breaking a tie with Jimmy Johnson for the most wins at the Brickyard in Indy in NASCAR history. Jimmy had won 4 before, and Jeff Gordon picks up his 5th win. He also becomes the 3rd driver in NASCAR history with 90 or more wins. Richard Petty with the most, and David Pearson with the 2nd most. Jeff Gordon ran a good race, had a heck of a restart on the last restart with about 17 laps to go, and came out and really showed that he is going to be a contender coming down the stretch for the NASCAR championship. We have 6 races left till the chase, and the standings update, we have Jeff Gordon at the top with 717 points. He has 2 wins, so he is still 1 win behind the guys at the top with the wins. He has 14 top 10s on the year, and really the only guy that's probably run a little bit better than him is Dale Jr., who has 9 top 5s and 14 top 10 finishes. Still some guys on the outside looking in. We have 11 guys with wins, and the top 16 get in. Guys still on the outside looking in. Casey Kane in 17th, just 4 points back of the transfer spot. Tony Stewart, 30 points back of the transfer spot. Another guy that was in the chase the last couple of years, Martin Truex Jr., and just some guys that are down there a little ways, just trying to get that 1 win, and then they could sneak their way in NASCAR. Next week we'll head to Pocono for another race next weekend, and that'll make it 5 races till the chase after that one. Dale Jr. won the first race of the year back in June in Pocono. We're going to have a lot more NASCAR as we move down the stretch, definitely, and get into the chase for sure. Time for our first of 2 NFL two-a-days. The first one we're going to head to are the New England Patriots, who last year finished 12-4. They were first in the AFC East. They lost in the AFC title game to the Denver Broncos. They were very good offensively, but they had a terrible rush defense, really struggled on the rush defense side of the ball, and couldn't get anything done. Draft, overall, I'm going to give them a B+. I thought they got a lot of good defensive line players, and they also picked up a very underrated quarterback out of Eastern Illinois in Jimmy Garoppolo, who they could bring in as a starter once Brady leaves if they're able to find a trade for very good backup quarterback Ryan Mallett. Key additions, they really bolstered their defense and picked up a weapon for him as well. They went out and got defensive end Will Smith. They bring in the cornerback who played with the Bucs last year. Didn't have a great year, Darrelle Revis. And they also bring in suspended defensive back Brandon Browner. And on the offensive side of the ball, they bring in wide receiver from the Panthers, Brandon LaFell. They had to make some of those moves because some of their key departures was the defensive back Aqib Talib, who left them to go play with Peyton Manning. And also they lose running back LeGarrette Blount. Overall, I think they're going to have a pretty solid year. I think the AFC East is a little better than it was last year. At the bottom, I think the Jets are a little bit better. So I'm going to give them an 11-5 finish, and they'll finish first place in the AFC East. Time to talk trade deadline. Major League Baseball trade deadline will come to pass on Thursday around 4 o'clock p.m. Still moves can be made after, but the big talk is who will move and who will not. And first I'm going to tell you the player I think is going to move, and I think it's going to be the pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, A.J. Burnett. I see A.J. in a decent year this year, low ERA. He could be on his way back to Pittsburgh to try to help the Pirates make another run at a postseason berth. The player to stay, I don't think Troy Tulowitzki is going anywhere. I think his contract is too much for teams to pick up. Talk was maybe the Yankees, maybe the Mets. He was seen at Yankee Stadium yesterday. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he could be traded in the offseason, but right now he stays right there. And the big question everybody's asking me is, who are the Yankees going to pick up? Are the Yankees going to make another move? I think they could. I've heard Josh Willingham. I've heard Matt Kemp. I think if they go Josh Willingham, That's okay just for this season. They're not getting any better, so they can't give up too much for him. But Matt Kemp, they could throw together a deal for him because he is still young and still can play pretty well. Let's do a quick Major League Baseball standings update here just to give you a look at the standings as we head just a little bit closer to the postseason. In the East, still Baltimore leads by 3 games. Detroit solid in the Central, and Oakland still has a 2-game lead over the Angels in the West. In the National League, Washington a game and a half over Atlanta. The Central still tight. Milwaukee has a 2-game lead over St. Louis and a 3-game lead over Pittsburgh. Dodgers with a game and a half lead over the Giants. And in the wild card standings, LA and Toronto are in the American League. Yankees are a game back. Seattle game and a half. Kansas City 2. And in the National League, we have San Francisco and Atlanta in with the same record for the wild card spots. St. Louis a half game back. Pittsburgh game and a half. And Cincinnati 4.5 games back. We're going to keep you up to date as well on NFL or MLB standings too as we move forward. Okay, time for our second NFL two-a-day to wrap up the AFC East. We got the New York Jets last year, finished 8-8, just outside the postseason picture. They were second in the AFC East. They really did not throw the ball down the field very well. No weapons. Geno Smith struggled with accuracy. Defensive side of the ball, very solid, and that's why I like what they did in the draft. They got some very good players to kind of bolster both sides of the ball. So I'm giving their draft an A-. Key additions for them, they go out and they get offensive weapons. They went and got Eric Decker as a wide receiver. They got a quarterback mentor in Mike Vick to come play backup quarterback for him. And they went out and got a running back in Chris Johnson. Key departures, they got rid of a couple of old guys. Santonio Holmes always hurt. They get rid of him. And Antonio Cromartie, the cornerback, is out as well. Prediction for this team, I think they're going to be a little bit better than last year. I think they have more weapons. I think their defense will be just as good. And Geno Smith's going to be able to throw the ball down the field a little bit more to Eric Decker. I'm going to put the New York Jets at 9-7. AFC East standings will finish like this: New England at 11-5, New York 9-7, Buffalo 7-9, and Miami at 6-10. And I will tell you who will make the playoffs as well. Once we break down the AFC, I will pick my playoff teams for that division as well. New York sports update: Yankees dropped 2 out of 3 over the weekend to Toronto. Finished up the homestand at 7-3, 54-50 right now are the Yankees. They're 4 games back of Baltimore in third place, 1 game back in the wild card. They head to Texas tonight for a 3-game series. Yankees Rangers 8:05 Eastern Time. Phelps 5-4 with a 3.77 versus Darvish 9-6 with a 2.92. New York Mets split 4 with the Brewers, and they finish up their opening to the second half of the season on a 5-5 road trip. They're now 4th in the NL East, 8.5 back of Washington, and 7th in the wild card, 7 back of second place. Actually, really, first place and second place. Tonight they head home. They take on the Phillies. 2 pitchers on the trade block. A.J. Burnett 6-9, 3.86 versus Bartolo Colon 9-8 with a 4.03. I will be back on Wednesday with more fun. I'm going to do some more MLB Trade Deadline stuff as well, more information by then. We'll head to some training camps as well. We'll do 2-a-days with the Broncos and Chiefs. Also, remember to check me out on sportsmindednews.com. James Williams, JHW Reporter on Twitter. Also, follow me on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. You can comment on anything, any of my content. You can ask me a question on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or Sports Minded News. And subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for tuning into the Blog and Drill. I will be back on Wednesday. Have a good start to your week.